And now, Jabroni Studios, in association with Big Herm Productions, is proud to present to you, recording from an undisclosed location in Oakdale, Connecticut, it's Chris Burns, it's Chris Lynch, this is Dysfunction Junction.
If you've ever had a girlfriend or a boyfriend, depending on what of the 37 genders you identify with.
Lynch has had both.
Hey. I may or may not resemble that remark.
I may or may not have lost my train of thought.
Winner.
I'm a triple winner.
He's a double winner.
Triple.
That you thought was just absolutely batshit crazy, and then you date someone else and you think they're absolutely batshit crazy, and then you date someone else and you think they're absolutely batshit crazy. We're taking all the batshit crazy tonight and rolling it into one giant ball and giving it to you. It's on the train. I can hear in the distance. Toot, toot. There it is. The signpost up ahead, as if you needed any prompting whatsoever, says, "Welcome to Dysfunction Junction."
Fuck yeah.
My name is Chris Burns. With me, as always, the esteemed co-host and the Possum King himself, the original writer of the masturbation calculation,
Chris Lynch.
And, of course, the producer extraordinaire, the man with no hair, and hookah shell professional, Big Herm Michael P.S. Herman.
Yeah.
Guys.
Hi, guys.
What a week in true crime.
It's been a week.
Yeah, well, yeah, I mean, for the documentaries in true crime, it's been it's been an interesting week.
It started, in my worldview, with George and Cindy Anthony. They'll lead off. And then somehow I found, when I was poking around for documentaries on HBO Max, The Curious Case of Nadia Grace.
Well, yes,
that'll go third.
And you were like, has anybody seen this? And I was like, oh.
Okay, so to start, and for all of you out there in La La Land, fuck you, Herm, for not telling us about this.
Well, I was into it. I hadn't finished the doc yet, and I wasn't sure. Like, I'm gonna be honest, we've all seen it. The first 3 episodes, you're literally like, what the fuck am I watching?
What am I looking at?
So why am I here?
Did she just say 8?
So full disclosure, the first episode
22.
The first episode for me took forever. It seemed like it lasted forever because it was really fucking boring.
It was the longest 42 minutes of your life.
I think I started that series before and bailed on the first episode.
I did too. We're
gonna say
it was like the middle of episode 1, and it keeps popping up on my continue watching list. And I was like, you know what? Fuck it.
I ain't gonna lie to you. I dedicated a day and a half to finishing. Because halfway through, that's when I texted you guys. I'm like, have any of you guys seen this? And Herm says, yeah, I watched it. I'm like, well, first, fuck you. Second, why didn't anybody tell me about this? And third, you're right, Lynch. The first episode, 42 minutes, seemed to take 4.5 hours.
I fell asleep. But I woke myself back up, and I'm gonna finish this first season. I gotta, because now I'm committed.
There's so much in this, and Nadia Grace is going to be the main event. We're going to go George and Cindy Anthony first. Obviously, Gypsy Rose has got more press in the last week or two than anybody deserves in the history of their life or ever. And then we'll go to Nadia Grace because Gypsy, now out of jail. What I found out last night in talking to my kid was, did you see the prison confessional documentary on Lifetime or A&E? I'm like, wait, what?
What? Wait, what?
My 15. Oh, yeah. Timeout offsides clipping. A&E, if you have any cable system that has the on-demand gimmick,
can we get that on just their streaming, on the streaming app?
I haven't
online.
Looked. I haven't looked. I don't know.
Because it's the weird fucked up thing is YouTube doesn't have A&E.
No.
In their roster. So it's real, and I don't know. And the only other way to get that is to is Disney.
Right.
and I'm not really spending money on Disney. Not that
Nor
I'm
should you.
opposed to Disney. My issue is that I really don't want to. I don't have kids anymore,
Right. There's no
so I
reason
have
for Disney
like so
Plus
like
unless you
once
want.
like 3 times a year there's something on there that looks interesting and that looks good possibility, and I'm not paying $8 a month to watch an A&E doc.
Same. So I think actually A&E is a part of Discovery Plus.
All right, I can check
So
that.
check there. I watched episode 1 last night. I was flipping between Gypsy Rose, the national championship, and Monday Night Raw. At one point, I just fell out. So I didn't finish any of those 3. So I'm going to go back tonight after this show is over, and I'm going to go watch episode 1 of Gypsy Rose Prison Confessions. I don't know what the fucking name of it is. I'll take a picture of the screen and send it to you guys.
That's my boy, Gypsy Rhodes.
Gypsy Rose, Prison Confessions, something or other, schnabitzfernum.com. And I'll get you guys the title. You look it up on your cable systems or whatever streaming services. This looks good.
However,
here's the thing. She was released, 2 weeks ago? You know what? Fuck it. Let's put Gypsy on top. We'll go to George and Cindy, and then we'll go to Natalia Grace.
Okay.
So this documentary, and there's so much coming out about her. She's been out of jail 2 weeks.
Oh, I got her on oh wow. I got another window open, and I'm looking.
Stop.
He's looking at the Google machine.
Pay attention to what you're doing here.
I am. What? Okay.
All right. So here's the thing for me. This documentary, six parts, was done in a day or two before her parole hearing to get out of jail.
Right. All right.
In the first episode,
she's been in for the 6-7 years or whatever.
Right.
All right. Okay.
She sits down and she says, hey, my parole hearing is just a day and a half away and this and that. And I want to tell my side and yada, yada. Of course, I've got so many irons in the fire last night that I just couldn't watch the whole thing. But thankfully, Cuntcast featuring X Shittity has all 6 episodes right there for me on demand. So I will, by the end of the week, have them finished. And I told my kid, Emma Burns, no relation, that I will have them finished. I want to talk to her more about it. That kid was so verbose and so eloquent about what she saw and what she thought. I'm like, kid, stop wanting to be a hairdresser. Stop wanting to be a nail tech. Go your grandfather's way. Be a cop. You've got it.
I think she would be a really good cop.
Absolutely. I told her you have to be a detective. You can't be a street beat cop. You have to be like fucking what's his nuts there? Sipowicz.
Yeah, like one of the girls in Chicago PD.
Even better. What's the
one that's Chris, take your pill.
Take your pill. Thank you.
The one that's the George Bush's daughter. That's your
Jenna
Hagerbush? Oh, yeah. Lindsay, the other one.
Lindsay.
The cuter one.
Lindsay on PD is the character's name. Yeah, but no. Jenna Hagerbush is on the Today Show.
Even though
the other one, that's the hot blonde that was on
Jenna.
Chicago PD was yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Look, all I know is I you know me, love the documentaries.
Do I?
Love to dive into this stuff. And she's like, have you heard about this Gypsy? I'm like, yeah, I watched Mommy Dead and Dearest. I've watched this documentary. She goes, well, have you seen the new one? The new one? No. Well, what about this? Have you seen the movie they made about it? The Act? No.
Yeah, that was really good. That I watched it when it first came out.
Okay. Here's my thing about Gypsy Rose right now.
That bitch.
If you've just gotten out, and I understand she's 33 by biological years, and we'll get more into that when we talk about Natalia Grace. She's 33 legally, biologically, everything. How about you just got out of prison? Try living a quiet life. Yes, I know Good Morning America's coming for you. I know the Today Show's coming for you. Talk your talk, and then fade off into the sunset.
Fade off,
This
right
girl,
off to the sunset. No, this girl did not. She set the sunset on fire and fucking dripped gas the whole way. It's
fuck yeah. She's on all of these socials talking junk to her, which I understand. You did something really fucked up.
Yeah.
And
You think?
People are not going to be as sympathetic. Look, I'm sympathetic toward her to an extent.
I'm sympathetic for the boyfriend she's pimping on social media and she's pimping to the world, because this is the next sucker.
Yeah, you're right.
I was going to get there.
I'm just saying this dude. We've seen the pictures. We've seen Poindexter next to her. This dude is the next sucker.
Well, I agree with you, but half of me thinks that this guy's a little bit more well put together than the previous boyfriend, at least upstairs.
No shit.
At least upstairs. He seems to be somewhat connected to the planet, whereas her previous boyfriend, who committed the act for her, he's way past Uranus, man. He's through a black hole somewhere.
Let me throw this out here.
Go ahead.
If it were me, and again, I only ever speak for myself. If it were me and I just got out of prison, yeah, I'm going to do the media rounds and, oh, how does it feel to be out? And da-da-da-da-da. What I'm not going to do is open a TikTok or an Instagram and talk about the fire D that I've been getting and how all you haters can go suck it.
I'm not coming out loud and proud unless I've been away for 20 years and they just realized, and it's one of those cases where they let somebody go after 20 years. He's been held. There is irrefutable.
Stephen Avery should have done this shit.
Right.
Yeah, right.
Right. Like, but what did Stephen Avery do? Just shut the fuck up and went home.
And then he killed a bitch.
Right. That happened later. But
no offense to the family of Teresa Halbach, but
no, not at all.
He got out of jail. He thought he was untouchable, and he killed a bitch.
And then he killed another woman. But yeah, unless like you had been totally wronged over by the system, I wouldn't be out loud and proud at all. Look, honey, you did what you did. The prison system just the system's deemed you're not dangerous right now enough to actually keep here, and we could let you out and keep somebody watching you because we need your bed for somebody who's even more violent on a continuous basis. And that's where the system is, and that's a whole nother show, okay?
Right.
The prison system. But she got out, good behavior, good for you. You didn't get stupid in prison. You're out. Shut the fuck up.
Disappear. Blend.
Disappear.
Blend into society.
Here.
You're going to get questions.
Get a home in a holler somewhere in West Virginia. Get a fucking and something like that. You know what I mean? Where it's fuck. Live off the grid. Fuck. Go to Montana. Buy a piece of land, and your nearest neighbor's not for 47 miles. Bro, just disappear and go live your life. You got extremely lucky, and life has dealt you another hand that most people don't get dealt in any form, especially in your position.
Correct.
Take whatever fucking pot you have.
Yeah.
I don't care if it's 2 chips or 1,000,000 chips. You take whatever pot is on the table and you walk away.
And you say bye-bye.
But here's my issue is that Gypsy Rose Blanchard is 33, and unfortunately, like a lot of kids that grew up, and I use the word kids facetiously, but I don't. By the time you're 30, you're a fully functional adult. Unfortunately, we live in a world where in your 30s, you still think you're 15. If you piss me off, I'm just going to block you. I'm going to go take everything to social media. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that, yada, yada, yada. Yet here are 350-somethings doing a podcast live for you guys to watch and comment on. But at least we're giving you fucking substance. And they just think that, well, if you're dead to me on social media, you're dead to me in life. No. And I don't think that any of the three of us put our daily, I don't know how you want to put this, our daily struggles on the socials. We don't.
No,
Hello, Matt Marsh, my man.
Matt.
He's coming back. Matt's coming back next time we do questions from the hat.
I do on the occasion. I'll sometimes spout off.
It's different. Like
but
once in a
it's
blue
usually
moon.
just to get it out there.
Yeah,
Yes.
Thunderhead Jones, you'll spout off.
I can't get into that account, but
yeah. Speaking of which, why can't you get into your normal account? Did you piss off Zuckerberg?
No. So on my phone it works. On the big computer that's really slow, it works. On my Mac, I had the last time I was on Facebook, I was logged in under Thunderhead, and it won't let me switch. It's a whole.
Oh, it won't let you switch it back to the other
yeah.
Other
it won't let me go back. It won't let me switch
like,
profile.
We got the thing. It was like send it to Thunderhead. We were immediately like, that nigga said something to somebody.
Yep, he got zucked.
That nigga said something on Zuckerberg.
No. I'm still out of Facebook jail for now on my main
At
account.
Kanega.
No. I sent you guys a proper pronunciation this afternoon.
That's what I said. Kanega. That's what I'm saying. Kanega.
No.
That's...
What did I say it was? What did I
Kanega.
say it was?
It's Kanega.
I watched the video that they sent. Anyway,
yeah, it is. Technically, there's a K, but so now I'll be hanging out with the Kanegas on the street. See, now I can say it. I'm gonna
go upstairs and use a knife to cut my knish. Fuck.
On my
TJ Peters is out of Facebook jail. Good job, TJ. The donut man is with us.
Yay.
I gotta say something. You know, you're right, and she's really like she is acting very extremely young, extremely immature for her age and whatnot. And maybe it's not having it for a while and been able to do anything with, you know, everything that's going on electronically and technologically, but also there's an issue for her that's really kind of important, and it's really kind of important for her man and for anybody she's dealing with. If you are stopped from going through developmental periods in your life, okay, so if there's periods in your life that you have to avoid and not go, there's an alcoholic in your house and the situation is really tense and traumatic, you will sometimes skip developmental periods of your life because there isn't time in that environment.
Okay.
All right. And if the environment is good, we grow. If the environment isn't, it's about self-preservation.
You're stifled.
Right. So the problem is that until whatever causes the trauma, and until whatever is blocking that developmental stage is actually fixed within your head mentally and emotionally, you can't go through those developmental periods.
Right.
So you will, if you are 10 when the whole world goes to hell and you have to be an adult, you don't, until you get
miss 11 through 18.
Right. Yeah. Until you get correct, you don't pass through them. And then the problem is at 34, when you get to the therapy, you will have a tendency to go through those developmental periods.
All right, I gotta say something while you're you know, because that was a fantastic point you made. But what does that say about the people now, say between the ages of, and I'm just going to spitball here, 25 and 35?
Well,
hold on, let me finish. Who still live by the credo that the socials are the be all end all?
Well, that's a totally different problem because they've gone through all of their social periods using that technology as an influence as part of those. So yes, you were the preteen hot girl with your girls, you know, putting on, you know, Bonnie Bell lip gloss and fucking, you know,
taking to Taylor Swift.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like you went through it, but that was part of that. Her problem is that what's happened in the last 8 years since she's been in prison with technology and the access
things have moved so forward,
the world that she has to the world now, I think coupled with going through those developmental stages, and you will go through them fast and like spurts, but you still end up going through them. I think it's a train wreck waiting to happen. It's the technology's new. It's all different. It's a lot. There's a lot of overstimulation and just an over presence of social media, and it'll get her in trouble. You watch.
Yeah,
Going
back to your point. Going back to your point briefly, Chris. Between you say 25 and 35, it's a status thing for them. It's like how many friends I have. Look who I talked to. Oh, did you see so and so liked my post? I don't give a fuck.
But part of it is also control to them. I have control
my over
worldview. Look, there are people,
which isn't a bad thing though. Sometimes, if you can use the control to your advantage and keep the people you don't like for me,
I could do a sideshow about this, and I will.
For instance, I'm not gonna hang out with people who post about or publicly proclaim that all they do is get fucking shit faced every day. I don't need to see that, me personally. Right. I have the power to click. I don't want to see that anymore. And the moment somebody does that to you, they feel like they got you by the short and curlies and a puppet string, begging to come back and be part of their social circle because I've excluded you.
Let me ask you a question. And it kind of goes to the Gypsy Rose using social media as like her pulpit right now to show, look, you're free. You did your time. I get it. The state said 10 years, you got out in 8, good behavior. You did, whatever you did in jail, extracurricular activities to, show that you're good behavior. Stop. That's a different, that's a different show. That's a different show altogether.
Yeah, but Chris, she had access to hundreds of thousands before. Now she has access to the world.
Right. But here's the thing.
She wants the world to hear her story, not just
when we're talking about 25 to 35, which Gypsy definitely fits in. And I'm going to ask you, Lynch, this one question.
Mm-hmm.
Sometime back in 2000, did we not go head-to-head loggerheads about a certain issue? Doesn't need to bring it up, but let's say we went loggerheads.
I probably don't remember exactly what it was.
Well, but I'm not gonna get into gory detail, but you didn't talk to me for a good 90 days.
Yeah, we went. Oh, yeah. Now I remember.
Okay, so what happens on day 91? My phone rings. Hey, you got a minute to talk? No, I don't, but I will at say 5:30 p.m. And what did we do? We sat, we talked, everything got good. Why? Because you are my friend. You have love for me, and I have love for you, much like Herm. Herm and I, there was a period of a couple years we didn't talk, and it wasn't for anything bad. It's just life went in different directions, and with Herm and I, it always comes back. You always find yourself right back on that solid ground. You look to your left, there's my boy. I look to my right, there's my boy. It always comes back. And for the 25 to 35 generation, and even in my daughter's generation at 15, almost 16, I hate to say that out loud, the socials give you the quote unquote power to lock somebody out of your life, lock, stock, and barrel.
Right.
And I think what's going to happen with Gypsy is that with the socials, with the TikTok, with the Instagram, I'm not on any of them with her. Emma has followed her on every social platform you can think of.
Oh, I'm gonna just to keep track.
I'm thinking of it as well because this story has legs and it's going to go further. But my advice, if this ever gets back to Gypsy Rose Blanchard, young lady, and I say this with all the love in my heart, stay the fuck off of social media because the current climate with social media is some random fat guy in Illinois is going to sit in his basement and judge you on what he heard rather than who you are. Some dipshit in Pascagoula, Alabama, which is it's Mississippi, sorry. Pascagoula, Mississippi, is going to judge you on what they heard versus what they know. I can count on one hand and need 5 extra fingers on some of these message boards that say the Atlanta Falcons message board, where I say, good, they should have fired Arthur Smith at halftime, and they're telling me, oh, you don't know shit. You're not a real fan. Okay, cool. I'm done here. Thank you for playing. Good night.
Well, that's the shit I get.
And go fuck yourself.
That's the shit I get out here. That's the shit I get out here.
Go ahead, please.
Unfortunately, Dad lived on the East Coast for a long time, and he picked up some shit. And one of the things that he kind of picked up and held on to is that he was real fucking tough on his sports teams.
Thick skin. And if we're going to talk about sports teams, and this will draw back to Gypsy Rose Blanchard, you can sit on either side. That's fine. Last night, Michigan won the national championship. I am not a Michigan fan. I am an Ohio State fan.
I'm an Ohio State fan, and I will gladly tell you any day of the week, at any time, fuck Michigan. However, given as long as I'm not a Harbaugh fan either, given as long as it's been since they've held the national title, given the performance they've given this year, all right, I can't say anything other than congratulations, Michigan. Do I like it? No. Can I deny the performance and the feat that you've accomplished? Absolutely not either.
Okay, so here's where I'm going with this, and this is where it kind of goes into Gypsy Blanchard, because yes, girl, you're out of jail. Yes, you got your first taste of freedom in 8 years. It doesn't make you better. I'll go to Herm and
because if you're sick and think you got something over on people, though,
right? Let's.
I'm hoping that's where I wanted to go at some point.
Well, here's where I'm going with this, because I've said this. Yes, I was that guy when in the late 90s when the Yankees were on their run. I was the first to tell Red Sox fans how much they suck. I still tell Red Sox fans how much they suck, but I have proof behind what I'm saying. When the Red Sox won in 2004, I reached out to every Red Sox fan I knew, and that's where my worldview changed. Congratulations. You got what you wanted. I hope this is enjoyable for you. If you listen to most sports fans, you would think that when Michigan won last night, that they walked into work this morning and the boss says, hey, Herm, can I see you for a minute? Herm, I'm using you as an example. Please don't hate me for calling you Michigan fan. I'm using you as an example.
Right.
Herm, can you come see me, please? I noticed Michigan won last night, and I know you're a huge Michigan fan. I'd like to give you a 25% raise per year because your team won. Does that ever happen? The answer is no. Sports are an outlet, and sports is entertainment for us. For the players on the field,
it's a job.
It is a job. It's sports.
Well, for the players on the field, even in college, for the players on the field, it's a job. For the players on the field, it's a job application and an interview.
In my lifetime,
your resume. It's your resume.
In my lifetime, no Yankee championship, no Bruins championship, no Celtics championship, no Ohio State championship, no foul. Never mind. No sports championship has ever got me a raise, has made my life better. So for those people, I understand bragging rights. And for the few people that I know that are Michigan fans, I've taken my fair share of shit. And I said, look, nothing I can say but congratulations. My theory has always been, what does Matt say? Unfortunately, Herm's mature thinking regarding sports teams' accomplishments, whether he likes the team or not, is a rarity. Wait till I finish this comment, Matt. I was that guy unapologetically back in the day, but it was the 2004 Red Sox winning the World Series that changed my worldview. And Herm has heard me say it, Lynch has heard me say it, and everybody's heard me say it. And it goes like this. I don't give a shit about history. You're only as good as your last season. And for Michigan fan, your last season, which ended last night, brought you a trophy. Good job. You now have 366, because it's a leap year this year, 366 days to brag. Give us Ohio State fans your hate. We're waiting for it. But for me, your life didn't change. Your house didn't get bigger. Your wife didn't get sexier. Your paycheck didn't get bigger. It's sports. Let it fucking go. And to tie this into Gypsy Rose, yes, girl, you're free. Good on you. You did your time. You're out. Maybe, just maybe, stay off of the socials. Just live your life for a little while and then come out. Write a book. Donate to some charities. Do something good in the world other than talking about the fire D that you've had for 3 fucking weeks.
You ever heard a black mama talk to her kid, a younger kid going out, when they start going out and being in the world and giving them like the life advice? Or look, this is my mama used to do the same thing. Don't bring any attention to yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Don't get loud in public.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Don't fight nobody in public. Definitely don't fight in front of no white people, regardless.
Well, like my granddad used to say, pick your battles.
Right. But basically it's look, there's already something, and basically the philosophy from the parent to the child comes down to as, look, there are already people looking to put you to point out how horrible you are. Do not give them any reason to take a picture and show that picture of how horrible you are to anybody else.
Throw that comment up on the screen. Matt comes in with, was it ever established if Gypsy Rose can profit off her notoriety or not? Here's the thing. Now that she's out, she can. While she was in prison.
No, she can't profit while she's in prison. Now that she's out, she can. So she can sign up for any deal she wants to.
I guarantee you, by the end of this month, you will have a PR person, a publicist, and a lawyer all telling her, get the fuck off of social media. Let this run its course.
Well, she should.
Because, I mean, well, here's the thing.
She's already made it loud and clear that she's here.
Somebody just said, a board of people at the prison system said, all right, we think, given everything that's gone down, we think she's nonviolent enough.
Healthy enough to be in society.
She's mentally stable enough and healthy enough all the way around to integrate slowly back into society and give it another shot. The first fucking thing you do is go off looking like a crazy hillbilly on social media to millions of people, showing everybody who just made a decision to maybe let you out because this is not who you've been while you've been in prison. Now you've got them second guessing yourself.
It completely undoes anything
to the next person who isn't going to do what you do when they get out, but now because you did, now somebody else might not get their freedom because you're fucking stupid.
And it
undoes go ahead with your point.
It undoes anything that the public had already perceived in you. You're making yourself look bad. You're not doing anything good for your brand, so to speak. Like I just said, she will have a gang of people telling her shut the fuck up by the end of the month. I guarantee it, because somebody out there, now that people know that she can profit from her notoriety, they're going to be coming. They're going to be sniffing at her doorstep, and they're going to go like, hire me. And she'll have people to tell her what to say and when to say it and who to be interviewed by and what to do next. She'll write a book. She'll sign off on another script that's a little bit different about the story of her life.
See, this bitch is dumb. I'm hoping she doesn't get the representation because I don't think she's smart enough yet. No. And I don't think the money's actually there yet to draw them in. But here's my thing.
It will be, though. It will be.
Waiting for her to disclose. I'm waiting for her to disclose in one of her fucking rants and tirades or going off and losing her shit. Something she probably shouldn't have. I'm waiting for that. She seems like the type of person who would drop a bomb that would change everything that's happened.
Well, and I mean, that's my point. She's going to say something that's going to trip her the fuck up. And I will, going back to a point from the beginning where you said about he's the next sucker. I think he's smart enough to maybe see it, but he's going to be gullible enough to believe her line of bullshit. She did it once. She's going to do it again. She is the master manipulator. And
well, he's already right.
When you see current interviews of her now,
away what happened. He's already legitimized and explained away in his head
everything happened
how
for a
all
reason.
that went down and what it was.
Until she gets this crazy 600-pound stalker who lives in grandma's basement, who lures her in with this another scenario of life and luxury and I'll lavish you with money, and then she fucks with this guy's mind and he does something stupid.
Right.
Because she is that manipulative, but she's easily manipulated too. I mean, according to the life story to this point, I want to see the real truth is whether she was actually playing along, or was she really just that manipulated?
See, that's where I was going with my next point, but you kind of hit it right there. Was she a willing participant? Look, if you look at what
she was willing she was a willing participant in her mother's death. That's what broke it.
Yes, not only that, but look, Habitat for Humanity built them a house. Here you go. Here's a house free of charge.
Thank you, Jimmy Carter.
She got don't blame Jimmy. Come on now.
Oh, I'm not blaming Jimmy. I'm just saying Habitat Humanity. Thank you, Jimmy Carter. Straight up.
She went backstage at a Miranda Lambert concert, her favorite artist, and it would Make-A-Wish came to her and said, "We'd like to grant you a wish. What would it be?" "Oh, I want to go backstage at Miranda Lambert."
Yeah, this girl got Make-A-Wished and not by Make-A-Wish, but the same scenario, got Make-A-Wished like a dozen times.
Right. I'll cut my fucking legs off to go backstage to Ghost. All right. Right now. I'm just telling you right now. I'm 51. I don't give a fuck. I will take a hatchet to these legs, have nubs like Kerry Von Erich, God rest his soul, and be like, I want to see Ghost for the last time. Whatever. Look, they were enriched so much. How much did she participate? If she did, if she didn't, I don't know. Watch the documentaries tell one story. The one I watched that Emma turned me on to, I'm one episode in out of 6. Sure. They actually talked to her father. And
he's another guy I want to hear the truth out of.
He's a victim as well. And to hear the wife of the father now, they split up when she was Dee Dee and I guess his name, I don't want to fuck this up. Let's just say Dee Dee and the father broke up when Gypsy was 6 or 7 months old. He got remarried a year later, and they're still married to this day. So good on them. Yeah. But that woman, you can see it in her eyes and the way she talks. And we got a couple minutes left on Gypsy Rose before we get to George and Cindy. She's traumatized by what happened because she saw what everybody else saw. Even Dee Dee's family said, hey, Gypsy would come to the party and say, I want to jump on the trampoline. And she would jump on the trampoline. And the minute Dee Dee came, she fell like a wet rag and played the role.
That's kind of
exactly Lynch's point. Hold on. Exactly Lynch's point. How much was Gypsy involved in this bullshit?
So if you watch the act, it's portrayed as that she was in on it. She played along.
Well, that's kind of my thing is she knew for a long time that she wasn't really sick. She knew for a long time that something wasn't right. She knew for a long time that she didn't trust her mother. She knew for a long time that
I'll be right back.
That while that was going on, she was benefiting from going along with it and not saying anything.
She got to make a wish. She got to this and that.
Well, that's the thing. So it's not the correct behavior that you're wanting to see, but she's still getting the dog treat.
Exactly. They're rewarding her. Right. They're rewarding her for bad behavior.
Right, for bad behavior, for not being honest, for all of the hidden stuff. She's still getting the dog treat. So
let me ask you this then: for for a person that was that fucked up, okay, gone through that experience, had her mother murdered, wouldn't you think that somebody who's that fucked up may act up once or twice in prison, and it would be like a snippet on the news? You heard not a peep, not a fucking peep about Gypsy Rose while she was in prison.
She knew to shut the fuck up and keep her nose clean while she was in there. It was the only way she was. I feel she was the only way she knew she could possibly get out early, rather than doing it full time.
I mean, she for all intents and purposes should have been a fucking soup sandwich when she went into prison. Her mind was fucked up, and like you said, she didn't go through those. She wasn't allowed to go through her own development. She was stifled by her mother with the Munchausen by proxy, and she went through all that shit in prison alone, no support, no other than the other inmates. So now it's like, imagine being 15 years old, and then 8 years later, motherfucker, I'm back. She's gonna. I would expect she would make a big deal out of her being out of prison, because it just goes along with what she has gone through. She was locked away for 8 years, and now she's out. Boom! Look at me, motherfucker.
Right. I think
look at me. I'm a fucking redneck hillbilly with
right.
No
and I think you'd want to see some sort of outward positivity being displayed, and really what you're seeing is look, you can't get out and do what you do and not think that people are going to have an opinion about you.
Before she got out of prison, a majority of America, she was like the sweetheart. They felt bad for her. Now she has haters because she's acting like this. She doesn't understand that she's not understanding that one thing is impacting the other.
As soon as she was let out of prison, the people started and set herself up. People started, basically the whole state of Missouri told her to get the fuck out. Nobody wants you here. We nobody wants your
concerned for her safety.
Yes,
not her safety. Not her safety.
I call horseshit for one reason. All the people that were involved in the riots in Ferguson, who still live in those areas, look,
they were not.
You can call them fiery, but mostly peaceful. A fire is not peaceful unless you're sitting around a fire pit having a couple beers at Herm's fucking roaster, and I'm telling these kids, get as many sticks as you can. That's a peaceful fire. Burning down a federal building is not a peaceful fucking thing. The people in Missouri have no room to fucking talk when it comes to this girl getting out of jail and saying, we don't want you here, but you'll be okay with people who burn down federal buildings and shoot at cops. Fuck you. This girl did her time. And I know people that have done jail time, and I know for various reasons.
So do I.
You've done your time. You did what the state and society and a jury told you to do. Now you're out. What you do from here is what defines you. If these people are so fucking intent on shuttling her out, then all of them should slide through the. Hold on,
those people, dude.
I can, but I can't.
There.
I can, but I can't because I'm on either side of the fence.
Your house?
I'm either side of the fence. I lived a mile from a prison, and the whole NIMBY, not in my backyard. When they want to build a new prison, not in my backyard. Guess what? You're the safest of all, because if a prisoner escapes from jail, they're not worried about your happy ass a mile from the jail. They're halfway to fucking Canada. They don't give a shit about you in Waregan, Lynch, where you used to live, or me in Brooklyn, where I used to live, or people in Danielson right down the street. They're halfway to fucking Canada. They don't give a shit about a mile, 2 miles, 5 miles.
No.
They're gone with a capital G.
Capital
N. Whole not in my backyard bullshit is now permeating into this young lady who got released. She did her time. This was what the state told her to do. And I always say this about a lot of different things in life. What if it was your sister? What if it was your mother? What if it was your father? What if it was your brother? Would you want them to go through this? Would you want society to give them a second chance? And before we beat Gypsy Rose into the ground with a fucking mallet, around the circle. Herm seems to have something to say. So, in my opinion, and I'll close it out here with me. I'll close it out here. Give the girl a chance to live her life, because based on every metric, she was robbed of a childhood.
Yep.
Yes, there were perks involved. Do I think she was involved? I don't know. Do I think she was an unwitting participant? I don't know. Was she just absolutely fucking gobsmacked and told to do that? I don't know. But she was a part and parcel to the crime. She did her time. She's out. Right now, Gypsy Rose, in my opinion, Gypsy Rose's biggest enemy is Gypsy Rose. Gypsy Rose. Herm, take it away.
I think your position would be different if she was a male and she had diddled a 5-year-old and gotten out 8 years on a 10-year term, and then was living in your neighborhood, even though he reported himself to the facility and to the locals.
What he did, he did the right thing. He again, the correctional.
Right.
I got you.
But I also carry a fucking gun, and there's laws out there. So why do I need a fucking gun? Well, because people don't always follow the fucking laws and the rules they've been told to follow, and I have to defend myself.
I got you.
So by that same token, can I understand why somebody doesn't want that living across the fucking street? Absolutely. I don't want the media circus it involves. I don't want the notoriety it involves. I don't want the fact that, oh yeah, that's Herm. He lives over by that fucking crazy Gypsy Rose bitch. Don't want anything associated with that. Don't want that in my nice little upscale neighborhood.
Do you remember the Wesley Snipes tax evasion trial?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. It happened at the Ocala courthouse. I was living in Ocala at the time, and it was right on my route to work. I had to learn a new path in a town that I've only lived in for 4 months to avoid the satellite trucks and this and that.
To avoid 3 square blocks of media.
So I get that, but Herm, let me put you in a different perspective, and then we'll throw it to Lynch after you answer this question. Whether or not you did the crime, Herm gets sent up for, say, 5 years. Now, I know Herm. I've known Herm most of my life. I mean, 70% of my life, I've known Herm.
Right.
I may be spitballing here, but, if you want to do the math, yeah. I met you when I was 15, 16, and here I am 51. So a grand portion of my life, I've known Herm. Now, if Herm gets rung up on some charges, whether real or imaginary, I believe the system works to an extent. Remember that quote, to an extent. I believe that if Herm goes away, does his time, and comes back, he deserves to show the people that he can live a proper life and not revert back to the sins of the past. The problem I have with Gypsy right now is that she's out. She did her time. She got let out 2 years early for good behavior. And she's all over the socials talking about drinking margaritas on New Year's Eve. And I wonder where John is. John, whatever the fuck his name was, that actually did the killing. That's bad baseball right there. That's really not good. But if we're gonna go to that point that Herm made, if it's my friend or my family member or someone, I would love to believe that this whole, and I am going to point fingers right now, this whole leftist ideology and live and let live, that would actually be exercised in daily life.
Well, the problem is that I'm speaking as a 50-year-old man.
Same.
And if I got rung up and on something violently heinous and got out, I would not go home to the town that I lived in when this all went down. and go back to the same fucking place where I was when this all went down, because the further you get from that bullseye, the less the opinion is about you personally, because they don't really know you. So I would get out, and I don't have to prove anything to the people. I don't have to prove shit to the people. I only have to prove it to the prison system, and those aren't the people.
Right.
The people in everyday life in America can have their own opinions regardless of what they think what debt I've paid.
Sure.
And if they're not satisfied given all the information with the debt that I've paid, they don't have to be. You can't make all those people happy. What you have to do is make yourself happy. So you get far as fuck away from your epicenter as possible, and you shut the fuck up, and you get a little job, and you just live out of life, and you try, and you bill your, here's your legal name on a job application. Me, I'd be changing my fucking name.
Here's the thing. We live in a society now where Gypsy Rose lives now, where if you fart on the West Coast, people on the East Coast know it within seconds. All right. Which will lead into my George and Cindy in just a minute after we get Lynch's final thoughts on Gypsy Rose. But there's nowhere she can go that she's not going to be recognized by someone. She could go to the bush in Africa and someone's going to go, Gypsy Rose. Someone's going to recognize her.
It could. It happens. But the further away you get, the less apt it is to be that big of a deal, because people aren't looking for Gypsy Rose 1,000 miles away in Pueblo, Colorado. She is strolling around, and every now and then somebody's like, hey, I think that's that Gypsy girl. So it definitely looks like her. But that's the thing. Nobody outside of that area is expecting her. She gets
now. No one. Again, I hate to keep cutting Lynch short, but no one outside of our little hamlet here in Connecticut knows the name Michael Ross. And had Michael Ross got exonerated in 1984, 1986, he could move to Montana.
Nobody would know.
Right. But in today's day and age,
it's
everybody would know his name.
Happens. That's how people that are on the news, and they're shootings, and they disappear, and they go somewhere else, and they disappear for 15 years, because you're not expecting fucking the Teflon Don to show up at some bullshit town in Utah.
Right. Understood. Now, Lynch, your final thoughts before we move on to George and Cindy Anthony.
I have to agree with a lot of what both of you are saying, Chris. I agree that she just needs to live her life. She is her own worst enemy. She has an opportunity here because this is a second chance. It's a rebirth. You just paid your 8 years debt out of 10 to have the privilege of having the option to get out of prison. They gave you an option. They didn't lock you away for life like they could have.
Oh yeah.
And you're pissing away a prime time opportunity to actually know what life is like in 2024. Stay the fuck off of social media. Own up to yourself and let's just live life, man. Get the fuck away from the spotlight. The last thing you want is to bring shine to yourself, where you're going to say something that completely discredits what the judicial system just fought for you to have. Freedom. Freedom. Right. And I hope she gets help that she probably didn't get in prison, because prisons aren't known for the best mental health care. Unless you claim
unless you known for the best mental health care, and then you put a prison system into that mix, and
unless you identify as a fish or a clam, that you don't get the care you need.
Let me just say, that's my Kaniga.
Kaniga. Just get the help you need, man. That's really it. And I think she was part of me feels she was a willing participant. She's not that stupid.
All right.
And she is definitely going to get this next boyfriend in trouble somehow, some way, she's going to convince him to do something really, really dumb, and I think it's going to be financially.
Well, I have a feeling we're going a little bit long tonight, and that's okay. Did y'all watch George and Cindy Anthony?
Yes.
Okay, here's where I'm going with this. And I said this, I was about a half hour into the 2-hour special. If you guys didn't see it, exactly. I'll get into that. Oh, Herm is rubbing his eyes. He's going to have a stroke. Exactly. Poor George was one of the things I thought. But here's the thing. I watched it.
See this little man that fucking had a car crash like a little while back, and like he's not tweaking out. And he's tweaking out over there, just sitting there in the sun.
Yeah. George, keep your foot still. I can't.
Hey, you want to fuck with him really, really bad? What do you mean?
Okay, I'm a half hour into this 2-hour special. I'm a half hour into this 2-hour special, and I look over to Terry, who I'm watching the show with, and I said,
I expected George to drop dead the entire fucking show.
Same here, but I said, there's no way they don't come out of this scot-free. And she looked at me and she goes, why? I says, because if either one of them failed this test, this would have been national news in 9 seconds. The power of the internet.
Yep.
So it took me a half hour. I should have known, and I blame myself.
Me too. I blame myself. The first episode when I was like, this is bullshit.
Yeah, and into a 2-hour thing, it took me a half hour.
I would have seen this three months ago on the fucking news.
Mm-hmm. But much like the Gypsy Rose thing, it was a week out. It was a week out.
Where do I go?
Here's again. If they were guilty, if they had knowledge, this would have been national news in about 8 seconds. So it took me a half hour into the show, and it hit me, and that's when I looked over. I'm like, okay, we already know they're innocent. The problem was the portrayal and the editing, and good on them for clever editing, because you sat until the end and like, so did they know? Did they do it? Were they a part of it? Yada yada yada.
Everybody on the planet knew George was guilty with the run up to the final. The way they cut that was,
you would have thought he was guilty as fuck.
They even literally even added with the audio when they gave it, like, and we found that you were, and they literally, because
cut the commercial.
Yes, you fucking cunt. Oh.
And I said it to Terry while we were watching the show. I'm like, this is like Restaurant Impossible. I don't know if I can do this, but here's what I'm going to do. Cut the commercial. Like, fuck! Bring me the sauce.
So when I watched that, the first thought I had in my head was what you just said. You already know how this turns out.
There's no way it could go the other way.
So there's no way it could go sideways.
Yeah, it would have made national headlines.
Do I believe they may have had something to do with it? Anything's possible. Anything is fucking possible, because how many years has it been? It was 1996, right?
2008, 2009. When I moved to Florida, and Lynch, you'll remember this.
Oh yeah.
It's been 15 years now.
15 years. I'm thinking of something different.
This started in July of 2008.
I was thinking of John Bonet. I had the wrong date in my head.
I moved to Florida in September of 2008, and from day damn one, every night on the news, the case against Casey, the search for Kaylee, yada yada yada, and it was either. And if either one of you want to go to your Google machine and look it up, I remember my birthday, obviously every year is December 8th. She was either found right before my birthday or right after my birthday. So there was like that. That's why this case is so important to me.
I remember it was Christmas-ish.
Yeah, and my birthday is like, what, 2 weeks before Christmas? Hello?
December 11th, 2008.
Thank you. Yeah. Right after my birthday. So this permeated my existence, and I lived an hour from where this is all happening. I'm in Ocala. This is happening in the greater Orlando region. My opinion, and I'm not going to say too much about George and Cindy. I want to hear what you guys have to say because I think I enunciated myself quite well on socials and with you guys in the chat. When I found out George had an accident and he's jittery and how it could affect the polygraph, I was like, oh, this can't end well. But then again, you're a half hour into this 2-hour program, me specifically, and I'm like, there's no way this doesn't go anywhere but they're innocent. And the one reason I say that is because I look at my parents and I will point to, say, Herm's parents. If something happened to their grandchild, they don't give a shit what Herm has to say, and my parents wouldn't give a shit what I have to say. They're hunting for justice for their grandchild. George was a cop, and growing up around cops and having a conversation Sunday night with one of my oldest and dearest friends who was a cop with my dad. His name is Rich Jordan. Rich, if you're watching, big ups to you. Yes, there are times where cops can be shady and, less than, but at the end of the day, they want the truth when they're doing their job. Yes, in their personal lives, they'll be shady and shitty, but they want the truth. And when I look at my parents, who one of them I like, one of them is the other one. I can't say I don't like them. I love them regardless. But if something happened to my daughter, they'd want to know. And if my parents were implicit, it would show. So my end theory, and I'll throw it to you, Lynch, in just a second. My end theory is that through all these years, since 2008 until today, George has been drugged through the mud. He's been made to be a patsy for Casey, who has been a known liar and
excuse me,
shyster and whatever you want to say. But what this show did was prove what I already knew. George and Cindy are innocent. Lynch, take it away.
So, what part of how I feel about George, I'm kind of like devil's advocate with that because he was a cop, he would know what evidence to bury, what evidence to like destroy, get rid of, blah 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 blah. So I'm 50-50. My heart says no, he would not do it. And that's the other 50% that he would never do anything to inhibit finding who murdered and took his little girl. Now, the mother is I feel that out of the two parents, the one that would do it most likely is Cindy to protect Casey. Dad is emotional when he talks about Casey, but the mother is more protective.
Wait. You just said the mother is more protective?
Yeah.
Okay, so did you see the part, I want to say it's an hour and a half in, where George loses his mind and says, was it George? I think it was George. And he said, how dare you? No, it was Cindy. And Cindy said, how dare you keep protecting her? And got up and walked off set.
Well, he was talking about Casey.
Yes. How dare you keep protecting Casey? And that was what he's doing. Well, this and that and the third and the other. How dare you keep protecting her? And walked off. And then she's sitting on the bedroom floor, and he's like, it's okay, baby. It's okay. We can get through this. I mean, there's so many questions. However, polygraph tests in regular life, they say are 90% effective.
Right.
And Lynch being an investigator back in his former life, will tell you in 1861 were looked at as 90% effective. My question to you.
Yes.
Do you think either one of them were implicit?
No.
Okay.
No, and I think based on the way they answered it, because I didn't watch the entire special, I was very deep in it. But I don't know. I don't get that from the way they answered some of the questions. And when I say protective, I don't think I think that whole thing was edited weird. That whole
Yeah,
thing
same.
that you're talking about. So but I still feel in my heart that she would have done anything to protect Casey, but it got to the point where she's like, oh, my armor's it got a lot of chinks in it right now, and maybe I don't know. It's just weird. I feel that she would have done anything to over the daughter over the granddaughter, where the father is protective of everybody. But bottom line is, I want to know what happened to my granddaughter, and I don't think he had it in him or has it in him to be that kind of cop. I would hope not. I would hope he didn't coach her in how to answer questions or come up with her memory gaps and all this bullshit. If anything, I go back to the show we did about Casey. A bitch did it.
Yeah.
Bitch did it and got away with it. Sorry. I'm sorry if you guys out there feel differently. Go ahead and chime on in, but that bitch.
No, I mean we've got the lie detector test that is, if we need to see Casey on one now.
Oh,
That'll never happen.
No, I know that.
They will
never agree.
You'll never be allowed.
I know that, but we saw Georgia City, and now we really just what we need is Casey on one. But that it'll never happen.
That would in a perfect world that would happen, but you and I, the three of us, both all know that this isn't a perfect world. That'll never happen because the ideology
is like deathbed confession. That's
the ideology.
Oh, you mean like Kuklinski or some of the other mob guys who at the end of their life they go, yeah, I did that.
Yeah.
I can't be prosecuted because my heart's about to.
Right. I think that's where you're going to get it. You're going to get deathbed. She's got, 42 hours to live.
With the prevailing attitude being let the past be the past. She's reformed.
And look, she was exonerated. She led a comfortable, quiet life for 10 years. And then
she was exonerated, and that's the way the system works. Unfortunately,
with OJ.
The system did not the prosecution did not do best work.
No, they didn't do a good job.
And that's how it works. Sometimes you can get away with shit because they're not that good against you. And that's the way the system works. For every 1,000 that go through and are right and just, there's 2 that are a little cockamamie. It's just
the same people.
That's what's required for rights.
Correct. The same people that will shit on Casey Anthony and shit on OJ and shit on Donald Trump. Nobody's been convicted. Nobody. Do I still think in my heart of hearts that OJ is guilty? Sure. Do I still think in my heart of hearts that Casey Anthony is guilty? Sure. Do I still think in my heart of hearts that Donald Trump did some shady shit? Yes.
Oh, did you see they made the decision on that ruling?
No, go ahead.
It was a panel of 3 judges, and he was supposed to go in, see if he could get away with that. He was trying to pull that whole I have immunity thing. And they determined that in this case, it doesn't happen. It doesn't apply.
Good. The best thing about the Trump thing is that
his immunity doesn't apply. So he's on
correct.
the hook in Georgia.
No, absolutely. The one thing about Colorado and Maine and other states pulling him off the ballot is actually unconstitutional and shouldn't have happened. Well, because he was not convicted of anything.
Colorado never pulled him off the ballot. Colorado never pulled him off the ballot.
They had a motion to do so.
Yes, they did. That's their right. Legally, they have the right. It was Maine where one person made that decision. That was it. There was one person in Maine that made that decision.
Let's go
At
back
least,
to Georgia.
Anyway, go back to Jordan's. Go back
George
to
Cindy.
George and
George and Wheezy. Wheezy! Welcome to the New York City Police Department test. I am the proctor.
What?
There you go. I don't think George and Cindy agree to this if they didn't know in their heart of hearts that they had nothing to do with this.
Yeah,
there's no end game.
What was the fucking? What was like? I didn't understand George's anxiety.
I think a lot of it is just to do this again. I have to rehash this again.
Well, yeah, but they're a lie detector test is always yes or no questions.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so look, I don't understand the anxiety he has, because if I'm in there, I'm like,
I do.
I'm like, yup, nope.
I'll explain it.
Some people react to some people react differently to that kind of stimulus, man. Yeah.
As someone,
no, and I'm not saying like I'm in there lying. I'm saying like if I know what the fuck I did, I ain't worried about it.
As someone, and you guys both will understand this, as someone who has been brought through the ringer for their past and what they did or did not do, no matter how many people can verify my whereabouts, what I've done, what I've not done, etc., so forth, my content of character, etc., so forth. Yeah, the anxiety will be high because you feel like you're fighting for your life.
Right.
And the fact that I can look to Herm or Lynch or Lee Bozeman, wherever you are, God love you. I know you watch the show after the fact. You'll see it on Friday. God love you, kid. Homo Louisiana Jones.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what people say. You know, people are going to believe what they want to believe.
Right.
And in a situation that I've talked to both of you about, that involves me, and I can sympathize with George and Cindy on this. You're not the devil. You did what you didn't do anything wrong. Walk forward. I don't think they agree to this unless they knew they were 100% validated, 1,000% not guilty, yada yada yada.
This was just.
Herm, are you gonna die?
No.
Please don't die.
Please don't die. This was the ratings grab.
This was just Ice Road Truckers with George and Cindy. It was all how it was edited to create tension. We all know that everybody gets across, or we'd have seen somebody fucking on the news that a truck driver died while setting shit on Annie on the set of Ice Road Truckers.
And you'd never seen that episode ever again.
Right, like the episode where somebody died on a great
to catch your predator.
The fishing gimmick.
Biggest catch. We knew like instantly when he died. But yeah, like, so I guess I just don't understand all the anxiety. I'm also borderline sociopath.
I can tell you why, because again, like I said,
no, I just said I don't understand it, and
when you know intrinsically in your heart, in your mind, in your soul. I know Herm's not very religious. I know that Lynch is.
But for me,
Lynch is Lynch.
For me, that doesn't create anxiety. That just creates more sure. I know.
But for me, and again, that's the beauty. That's the beauty. That's the beauty. We're different people.
No, I know. That's why I don't understand George just freaking out. I can understand the toe. I just can't understand how he wrings his hands over things that he already knows. It's like nigga, he's asking you 2 + 2,
but
and you already know
it's been something he's been going,
2, and then another 2, and I gotta add them.
But think about this. It's something he's been going through for 15 years. And now this may be the end game. This may be where the public at large looks and says, okay, George is cool. Let's move on. He's had to deal with this. I mean, none of us have had to deal with walking out of your house and having cameras pointed, the barrel of a camera pointed down your fucking gullet while you're trying to get to your car to go to work, or, you know, walking into an Aldi's and having cameras going, George, what are you doing? What are you buying? Are you buying more tarps to fucking kill the kid?
No, I understand that. I
fucking go.
But we're years later now, and their neighborhood is nice and quiet. There wasn't a fucking media van parked anywhere near them. They're not in the same situation. I understand the sadness and the mourning and the loss. I get that. I just don't. I'm not convinced that it wasn't. There wasn't a little bit of a show.
See, I'm going to go the other way. They've stayed in the same house. He's gone about his daily routine. Cindy has gone about her daily routine. I think, in my mind's eye, and you may disagree, 100%, unequivocally, not involved.
Oh, I'm not saying that. I'm sucking the anxiety and his worry, like the worry over when they asked him, "Did you have any involvement with the remains?"
Wouldn't you? Wouldn't you?
Well, and I'm gonna bounce. Okay. I'm gonna bounce off of that because I agree. Because I don't interview very well sometimes, and it's when I'm in my own head, I get very anxious, and I stammer. I'm usually pretty well spoken and don't speak like that. So I get the frustration and the anxiousness that he has for. Again, like your point, Herm, he's rehashing it all over again. When is this going to be over? When is it going to be over? Well, guess what, guys? It's over now. For a majority of the public, that should satisfy them. I want to shake the hand of the guy at A&E who came up with this brilliant fucking concept, because really, really smart people weren't going to watch it because the thought came across their mind.
Wait, what are you saying about me?
That's my point, Chris.
That's the hook we figured out in the first episode.
Right. Well, it was a 2-hour gimmick. This wasn't episodic. This was 2 hours.
You know what I mean? Well, for me, it was for me. I watched it in 2 segments. So for me, it was 2 or 3 different sections early in the morning. So while everybody was asleep on my phone.
That's my point. That's genius. That's genius because people sat glued watching that. I'd be interested to see what the viewing ratio is on that show, because
that was me. After I figured it out about 45 minutes, an hour in, I'm like, my next thought is like, Jesus Christ, they're putting him through the fucking ringer. Now I gotta watch. Now I'm watching because they're just putting George through a fucking meat grinder, and he seems to be playing right to their hand.
Right, and that's what was genius about it, is that if you really, really think about it, the show shouldn't exist because we already know the results of the polygraph. But I'm going to watch anyway because it's a fucking train wreck.
Of course.
It's a guaranteed entertainment for 2 hours at the train wreck that was promoted like, oh shit, maybe there's this big revelation.
Who did all the laundry, because like there was like you'd watch that show. George wore
multiple wardrobe,
different fucking golf shirts while this thing happened. Who the fuck's doing laundry down there in Florida? Good
Cindy.
Either that, it was the most horrendous continuity error ever.
Yo, for real, they like go and like he flipped out and I want to take you for a ride, but now he's in the fucking van, and now he's in the Forerunner, but now he's wearing a blue shirt. Nigga, he was just in the house. You said let's go outside and talk. Did he change his shirt just to get in the car?
He was in a yellow shirt just before.
That's what I'm saying. And before
it is Florida, so swamp ass is 100% usual.
That is true. I live there. I know.
They got air
swamp ass is real.
Yeah, but they go outside, they instantly fucking sweat.
Oh, I know that for a fact. Oh my god. And especially them being an hour away from where I was. Complete truth. Complete truth. All right.
So anyway. On to the next time.
I was gonna say, are we gonna get to the real fucking meat?
Yes. Now we're gonna cover the first season because Lynch got through the first season. We'll do the second season maybe 2 weeks out because
after Lynch watched it.
We have a fantastic topic for next week, and we're going to let you know at the end. But HBO Max, or Max as it's known now, has a fantastic documentary, The Curious Case of Nadia Grace, which if you have not seen this, I'm going to tell you now. You can listen to us. We're only going to cover the first season. We'll come back in 2 weeks and cover the second season. Maybe we'll have a guest. Maybe we won't. We don't know. But I have a theory about this, and Herm, you'll know it because you watched both seasons like I did. A young lady born in the Ukraine.
A girl.
I just said that, young lady.
You said young lady. I consider that's a young lady. It's a girl. I'm definitely not weak, but
no, I didn't say that. I'm just saying if you're catering to that crowd,
a 13-year-old a young lady, and I would consider an 8-year-old a girl.
Okay, a girl.
It's all. Definitely
got you. Understood. I'm moving forward. A young girl born in the Ukraine, shipped over to the United States, given up for adoption. At 8 years old, finds herself in the loving arms, quotation marks, of the Barnett family in Westfield, Indiana. At some point, the family thinks that this girl is older than she actually is. Have her legally re-aged from 8 years old. They adopted her when she was 6. So 2 years in, they figure,
that was already her second family. She'd already been with a family and been brought back to
in New Hampshire.
Uh-huh.
Yep. That'll be in the second when we do this again. The Curious Case of Nadia Grace Part 2. She gets refamilied to a family in Indiana, and after about a year or so, they think she's older than she actually is. Where have you been? What have you done? And she gets re-aged legally to the age of 22. Then they put her in an apartment the town over in Westfield. And they give her food, yada, yada. She's moving around, whatever. Lynch got through the first season. Herm and I are all the way through. Until Lynch finishes the second season, there's a lot of questions. We're going to stick to season 1. Did this not give anybody else a fucking stroke where the left side of their face fell down and you're like, what am I watching?
Yeah, like you had a Bell's palsy episode in the middle.
Exactly. And no offense to Bell's palsy victims, my mom being one, a couple of other people that I know, Jim Ross, the most famous of all time that I know who suffered from Bell's palsy and still does his job ridiculously well. This was insane. Go ahead, Lynch.
I'll start because I only watched the first season.
Go.
So there were a lot of little clues that would clue in the parents to thinking, oh, maybe this is just some young crazy bitch like that movie Orphan, where she posed as a little girl when she was really 25.
Well, we learned in the first series. I'm going to interject real quick. She's 8 years old, and I'm just going to stick to the first series.
Yeah,
I'm just helping with Lynch's point. In the first series, we learned that she's 8 years old, and she already has full pubic hair.
And a couple years later, she gets her period. Okay, red flag number 1, she got the bush. Red flag number 2, she had her period at a very young age.
My man just said out loud, she got the bush.
Now, that's red flag number 2 for the parents. Now, if I were those two people, I would probably have a couple fucking questions. This puppy ain't what I thought it was going to be. I want to return it.
Well, no. Now I really want to take it to a vet and have it really checked out.
Yeah, I'm going to get the Roto-Rooter done on this dog and see if it's exactly what you sold me.
But there's the other stuff that goes with it, dude. You got to do the other stuff.
Season 2, bro. Season 2.
Well, not season 2. There's no. We learn. Look, there's her at the end of the bed with the knife. There's knives. They find kitchen knives hidden under her bed.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And a lot of the stuff can be explained away.
She's told people that she wants to kill her family. They find alcohol, matches under her bed. There's other stuff. She's told people that she wants to kill them or hurt them, or she would. There's a lot of erratic behavior. Let's go there.
Okay. So given all those circumstances, the early onset of basically puberty, the batshit crazy shit she does with the knives and the things she says. Now, a lot of that can be explained away due to her situation. Why does she have knives? She feels she needs to be protected because she was left in an orphanage in Ukraine, where she probably had to fight for every meal, and have a bed to sleep in. Just let's be honest, folks. It's Ukraine. They're not really known for their fantastic medical facilities or foster care. A lot of that that erratic behavior can be explained due to her situation from birth to 6 years old. She saw a lot of fucked up shit. And she probably heard a lot of fucked up shit. So she thinks that this shit is normal to talk like this because she heard other people doing it. This is her normal thing. The early onset of puberty can be due to her medical condition. Her medical condition has this thing called precocious puberty, which is where puberty blockers were actually used in the 70s, 80s, and 90s to halt the puberty so it doesn't happen too early. So had she been treated properly for her condition when she was younger, they would have diagnosed her precocious puberty, and the early period in the pubic hair never would have happened. There's a lot of things in my mind that I know already that she really could just be 8 years old.
Well, now you're an asshole because you really need to watch this with all of that coming out your fucking mouth. You really need to watch the fucking second series and catch the fuck up because now we can't have a real fucking conversation.
Well, they've already DNA tested her, and it's in the news. They've proven that she is the age that she says she is.
Correct.
The paperwork matches. The numbers match. She's a numbers matching vintage.
Yes, but the first series is old. It's the second series that just came out.
Yeah, it's the newest of the new.
Right. But the second series is like end of last year, 2022 interviews and talking to. And we talked to the entire second series is her. We talked to her. And there's
and Michael.
Her and Michael and some of the other people involved from the first series. But yeah, you learn a lot. But yeah, you now you have to watch.
Here's the thing, and I'm going to throw this out there before Lynch watches the second season. I think the smartest person in all of this is Christine Barrett. Or Barnett, or whatever her fucking name is.
I think she's the most horrible person, but she's...
Yes, but at the same time, she's the smartest person because I don't want to get tied up in this.
She's just
exactly. Excuse me. I'm going to die.
Please don't die.
That basically falls in with her narcissistic, controlling behavior and all the thing about image. So,
right, but whether it's real or imagined... let's go here. Excuse me. Before Natalia arrives, I got a sneeze coming on, and I don't want to do this.
Ooh.
I've never done this. 101 episodes. Thank you.
Bless you twice. 3 times.
I've never done this. 101 episodes. I've held it back. My apologies.
Now get the boogers off your hands. Close enough. You gonna make it?
Nope.
I knew he was waiting for another one.
Fuck you. You know, before Natalia arrives, Christine, is her name Christine? Is it?
Yes.
Fuck.
With a K.
Her name is Etchu.
Yeah. She already has a charitable foundation and a daycare center for kids on the spectrum or what have you. Fuck. 101 episodes. I sneezed fucking 6 times. Gotta love winter in New England. She already has all of this stuff. And now her and Michael. Fuck. Feel free. Every time I sneeze, take a shot. Unless you're Lynch.
Yeah, but but while you're having your sneezing fit, let me ask this.
Please.
Can you honestly finish the statement you're about to make, knowing what we know on how money was handled and
mishandled
and what the behavior she was displaying and using versus the foundations she's trying to create?
I cannot, only because
statement. I mean, really, can you finish that statement knowing what we know about her?
Only because Lynch and maybe the public at large have not watched this documentary on Max.
No, that's kind of where I'm. No, it's which will now they. I'm just trying to push them to watch.
I'm doing the walk-in.
I hear you.
I'm kind of doing like she had all of this stuff set up already. And they adopt this girl with dwarfism, bring her into the house, and in the first iteration, the first season, here's where I'm going to go with this. I got 2 points, and Herm will agree. And
Natalia is you end the first season thinking that Natalia is the fucking devil.
Yes and no.
You know something's not right, but you know this girl is really fucked up.
What I got out of this was I'm on both sides of the fence. I really don't know. Even at the end of season 2, I really don't know how to feel about Natalia. I really don't. Here's why. Season 1, everything's laid out, and it paints Christine as the victim. Or not the victim, as the victimizer.
Right.
You know, hey, let's take this girl.
In the middle of the season, she's being a victim.
Right. Okay.
At the end of the season, we're starting to see that she is actually the victimizer.
Right. Correct. Now, but at some point, I'm watching this, and when you get into season 2, you'll hear exactly what I heard in my head watching season 1 was this eerily sounds like a movie that I've already seen. Not only a movie that I've already seen, but they made another one after that.
Mm-hmm.
So if you've never seen, first of all, if you're watching this show, go watch on Max.
It's Orphan.
The Curious Case of Natalia Grace.
And then watch Orphan.
Then watch Orphan, and then watch the sequel, Orphan Kills.
But yeah,
same plot line.
Totally same plot line, but everybody's painted in a. It starts. Everybody's painted in a light, and the light changes by the end of the first series, and the problem is that the
shadows are cast completely differently towards the end.
Throughout both series, the only thing that remains constant is Christine having zero, what's the word I'm looking, accountability within the situation. And she is completely removed, and she is the entire family and this is hard for me to say this because I don't usually subscribe to it, because men are generally stronger, just physically.
Yes, I know where you're going.
The entire family has battered spouse syndrome. I will not even call it battered wife.
Absolutely.
Everybody in that family that we saw, for both of the males, have severe battered spouse syndrome.
Yes.
The situation and the roles were reversed. Christine would be in prison for fucking
ever.
There is battered spouse syndrome and battered child syndrome, and you can, regardless of whether Michael is fruitier than a box of Fruit Loops, all right, he's very metro. I get it. I understand that. I'll let that slide. There is battered spouse and abused spouse syndrome there that is undeniable. And
there's going to be a scene, Lynch, when you watch season 2.
Look at the son. The son is.
Well, Jake is gone. Jake is tapped. Jake is going to.
He's one bad day.
Bodies.
He's one bad day
away from either a school shooting or hanging himself, and I don't say that lightly.
Or I can see him playing out the movie 7 in real time.
Like, he is a prodigy, and the problem is that he ended up
super fucking smart.
All right, he's a genius, bro. Like he was done and out of like school and college, advanced whatever the fuck he was doing by like time he was 14. He's Doogie fucking Howser, bro.
Yeah.
All right. The problem is that unlike in Doogie Howser, in real life, when you're there at 14 like that, you've now got no life options.
Right, you're stuck.
You are the smartest dude in the room, and you can't work, and you can't do anything. Like, your life is fucked. You're almost disabled. You're so smart, but you can't go get a job.
Right.
You can't take care of yourself.
Right. So
you don't know how, because you spent all your time studying.
And so we learn how the mother has fucked everybody over in the second series, to the degree and to what lengths. It's pretty fucked up. But everybody in that house has battered spouse syndrome or battered child syndrome. Mm-hmm. Whatever the mother, for a woman to have that effect on a household, that is some toxic shit.
Welcome to my world for 4 years.
I'm just saying that is toxic shit. And the smartest thing she did was have nothing to do with this.
The only thing that I have a problem with was when they said on the blurb, black screen, white letters, Christine Barnett refused comment on anything, whatever. And it said her response was, "Your network is whack."
Right.
That to me took all of her credibility away.
Right.
If all you say is no comment, you're good. Your network is whack. Well, then you're a fucking tool.
That kind of deflated anything that she portrayed for herself. Again, this case ties back to Gypsy Rose. You got to remember that there's multiple victims in this scenario, though. There's the child, there's the son, there's the husband,
the three sons,
the wife.
Yeah, right. The two we never see because she hasn't let Michael see them in 10 years.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, it's fucking crazy. It really is crazy. Very hard to piece together. See, I did my research, and I kind of see where the second season's going to go.
Yeah, but you don't. That's the thing. Because as soon as you start the second season thinking this is all Team Natalia, there's other things. There's people they talk to and people they're not third parties in the story. They're 23rd parties in the story. They were just people at a place where she was at.
The one thing I said,
they were neighbors in a complex. They were, and yes, a lot of the behavior
fringe. They were fringe.
Okay, but a lot of the behavior and things that were heard, you've got to watch it because it makes you question.
There's a saying:
because she goes back and forth from acting like she's 8 to now she's 20. Now she's 20.
So there's a saying: the worst witness is a first-hand eyewitness. Now, saying that they're talking to people on the fringe, those are probably more reliable sources.
Maybe.
Because they may pay attention a little bit harder, and they don't have a preconceived notion of this person. They're just looking at erratic behavior. And it's notable erratic behavior if they still remember it and can recount it. And that's important to take into consideration if you're painting a picture of whether she's fucking batshit crazy or not, or whether this whole thing is she's actually 40. You know,
there's a couple of things in the second series. There's a scene where Michael and her are talking, and he is adamant about what he knows, and she's trying to explain it away, and I couldn't do this and this, that, and the other, and he was like, no, you were there about this far away and you had it in your hand. And she is not remembering this, and he is like, yeah, it happened, I saw it, I'm not making this up, it happened. And there you watch her entire, she comes in aggressive, and as soon as I'm thinking it, there's a lady,
shoulders drop.
There's a lady that watches the scene and immediately says out loud what I'm about to say to my wife in the body language thing. I was like, did you see that? And Jen's like, what? And I'm like, next thing you know, it goes back to the lady, and she's watching it, and she's like, she just did it, and this all changed. You literally see her start to question. Look, because here's the thing. She starts to question what she remembers. So if you can question what and you think you can, if you can remember what didn't happen, can you there's also some shit that happened that you can't remember.
Right.
So if that's the case, you don't is it possible you don't remember some of the episodes, that shit you had? The girl's fucked up, and the girl's fucked up.
Well, and a lot of that could be from her compartmentalizing things from her past.
Yeah,
I mean, because a lot of people disagree with that theory that they can completely block out.
There's no tears. There's no tears.
But is there ever? Because those people don't know how to show their true emotions because they're stifled. They don't learn how to be a human.
Back to my position. She's fucked up. I don't care why. She's fucked up.
They don't know how to
degree. There's something not. She's not. I don't. You can't.
What happens to a kid? What happens to a kid who's told to shut up all the time? He grows up to be a quiet kid. He or she grows up to be a quiet kid, and kind of reserved. Not the guy to stand out in a crowd. She had, from birth to 6, she had no real structure in her life, so she doesn't know how to human. And when people don't know how to human, they go feral, and they do whatever it fucking takes to get through life. And I think at about 8 years old, her feralness came out.
See, I don't
she
think
was like a feral cat.
I don't think it's feral. It's feral. It's so many years later, and it's still I don't think it's feral.
Conversely,
because feral goes away. Feral goes away. We're not talking about wild animals here, but feral in people for the most part goes away. And this is 15 years later.
Well, and flip the script is that if she was actually older than 8 years old, you got to be pretty goddamn intelligent to come up with how manipulative she is and how convincing. Because I find it hard to believe that an 8-year-old kid, an average 8-year-old kid, could be that conniving. You know, and that kind of proves the story in some people's minds that she was actually older, because it was a pretty convincing. If she's acting like an 8-year-old, it's a pretty goddamn convincing act when she is.
No, well, that's what I'm saying. Is I don't think she. I think she's the age that she is. I just also don't think she's right.
Okay, she's out. She is on another level, man. Like I said about the first boyfriend in the first segment,
and
Black
you'll
Hole.
see when we close the second series. After what goes on, and so with some of the characters in that series,
Damn it!
because
there's a lot of shit to unpack.
there's a couple of people on her team that are a little aggressive.
Oh, there always are.
During a couple of the meetings that are tried to help for her and Michael to talk.
Michael's gay. Let's get it out of the way. Michael's gay.
He's as queer as a $4 bill.
I don't care. You. That's neither here nor there.
Doesn't matter. Michael's gay.
But
anyway.
But there's a couple of people on her team that are a little aggressive, and are defending her and sticking up for her. And then when they close out the show, you learn that something has happened, and they're not, whatever it is, they're really not fucking happy about it.
Right.
And you can tell by the way that the character is speaking just how unhappy he is about it.
Right. Let me say this. In regard to what Lynch said, whether or not you believe something happened, and you hit something inside me, because thankfully I have a really good support system of people that were there for my childhood and my teenage years. And I'm not discounting you guys, but these are people that were like there. I mean, they were there, like next to me, shoulder to shoulder. And I've never been one to complain. I've never been one to bitch. I've never been one to say things that aren't true. In regard to this, but just going back to Sunday night, where I'm having a great conversation. I mentioned him earlier, Rich Jordan. You're going to watch this later in the week. Love you, brother. Saw some of the things that went on in my childhood. And if I were to have an A&E special or a HBO Max documentary, people would never believe me. But the people that were there, I don't harp on it, and I don't live my life by it, but it's good to hear, that reinforcement that's like, yeah, I saw this going on. And my question to all of these people was, why didn't you say anything? It was a different time. It was a different era. I get that. The 80s, early 90s were a different era. We get that. But now, with all of this story about Natalia, and look, I don't think the parents were the greatest people on earth. The parents, Michael and Christine.
I think the father did the best he could given the situation and the look.
He was handed a leaky bag of shit.
If Michael went against Christine, she was going to ruin him. She had all the money and everything was in her name.
Yep.
That was his
fatal mistake.
He was going to take the kids, and he was tied. If he did not want to live on the street or live in that Corvette, it's like one of the. He still got it. It's like one of the last through that whole.
It's the last vestige of his life.
Like the last thing he had that was worth a goddamn of anything, but she was. They were abused. He was controlled with money, and those kids were weaponized.
Well,
and the only reason the second kid is the oldest kid is with him is because he's no longer viable to make her money.
Right.
because he's just he's 21, 20, whatever he is.
He's just a kid,
Yeah.
a young adult now.
He's got.
Let me go back. There's certain things that happen in everyone's childhood that nobody believes them. And I'm glad that I found people that saw what was going on and have told me, there was no way I could have stopped it. I'm not saying I was abused. I'm not saying I was, anything, but there were certain things in my life that could have gone different and made me a better person, perhaps. But, I'm not gonna do that here. I'm not gonna expose dirty laundry. But when you hear that, like, hey, we were always on your side, and I go to breakfast once a month with a group of guys that I am 20 years younger than, that we all share great stories and we laugh and we have a great time and yada yada. And, for what it's worth, we go out in the back parking lot of this particular restaurant and we have a shot of whiskey and, we do our thing and we're like, we're all survivors. Let's do this. Let's have fun. Let's embrace this friendship.
Well, see, I have the similar situation. Is that in my life, if I say a few things, people are like, no, that never
Exactly.
happened. And when someone in your own family points it out and said, that's fucked up, it kind of hit me later on in life. It's like, wow, that person saying this about that person and they're on my side? Holy shit.
Yep.
But my final thought on all three stories, the common theme, the common thread they all have is there isn't a reliable narrator in any of the stories.
None of them.
And in order to tell a good story and factual, there has to be what they call a reliable narrator. And the unfortunate part is that our perception of these people has already been painted in our minds by the past media coverage and the current media coverage. So our view is tainted. We're not looking at this like an outsider because of the time we live in. We live in fast food news, fast food world. I want it now, not yesterday. So 3 old fucks like us are going to have a different perception than a younger person. And rightly so, because this is new news to them. This isn't old news.
Right.
And they see things through a different set of glasses. And to young folks that are truly looking for the truth, see things the way we do. But the unfortunate part is, let the past be the past. They're a different person now. They've reformed. You don't know.
In some
you don't
cases,
know. You cannot give. You cannot be that 100% behind somebody and say that they're a different person because you don't know until they have. What's the one thing what's the one thing they can do that'll put confidence in you? Your actions speak better than your words. And once they act benevolent and understand the chance they have with Gypsy Rose, the opportunity she has, Casey Anthony, the situation she has, until your actions tell me otherwise, I'm going to question it.
The one thing I'm going to say is that these two guys have walked me through some of my darkest times, and we're on the other end. I look at not only Nadia and everybody in that fucked up situation. Again, Lynch, watch season 2.
I will.
We'll come back to this.
I'll start it tonight.
I feel bad for Nadia. I feel bad for Jake. I feel bad for Michael, even though Michael is gay as fuck and he won't admit it. I feel bad for George and Cindy. I feel bad for anybody who's been just drugged through the mud. And much like myself, although I don't, this is probably the first time I've ever spoken about this on a microphone. God bless you. there were things in my childhood where I was falsely accused of a lot of things, and they weren't right, and I didn't let it hold me down. I just get up every morning, I pull my pants on one leg at a time, I put my shoes on, tie them one at a time. I go out the door, and I go and do the best I could absolutely positively do that day. That is something that my friends taught me, Herm, Doc, Lynch, Smitty, uh, good Christ. So many I can't even name, but thank you to all of you who taught me that life is better with me here than without me here, because I was suicidal at many points in my life, to the one point where I did the Thorazine shuffle and spent 45 days away from Herm. And he'll tell you, when I came out, I was a different person. And then, whatever. Don't discount someone's view of their trauma. But then again, there are people now in this day and age who use the word trauma like a comma and will call, oh, I had a flat tire on the road, trauma. My boyfriend broke up with me, or my girlfriend broke up with me, trauma. Oh, this, trauma. Trauma is if you get into a car accident and you got injured and your kid was in the car, trauma. If you've been to war, which I've never been, and you see disgusting things in front of you, trauma. If you watch your parent die in front of you, trauma. If you have to go through something medically like Lynch that will severely fuck up your worldview, trauma. But if you use trauma as anything that goes wrong in your life, you're a fucking idiot. Get out of my way. I will go through you or around you, but one way I'm going in front of you because you're a fucking idiot. When we cover season 2 in 2 weeks, we'll talk more about Natalia's actual trauma, what happened at the end. That last minute and 30 seconds of the final episode of season 2 ruined my worldview. If I didn't have a stroke, like I was texting you guys, if I didn't have a stroke watching season 1, I'm surprised I'm here talking about season 2.
It'll be interesting. It'll be an interesting watch.
It will be fantastic for you. Herm, do you have any last thoughts about Natalia?
Uh-uh.
All right.
No, I'm going to reserve everything till Lynch watches season 2.
As well you should. Next week, we have a what if from a friend of mine. And I'm going to throw it out here to the panel. I want you guys to pick what if your favorite celebrity ran for president. I've got mine. I'm stealing it from Mike Coons. God love you, kid.
Ooh.
Just chilling. What if your favorite celebrity ran for president?
All right.
So if that celebrity happens to be foreign, you're going to forego the whole not born natural citizen, blah, 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 blah.
No, it has to be a natural born citizen.
Do we have to follow presidential rules?
We have to follow presidential rules.
Over the age of 35.
Okay.
Over the age of 35, born in the contiguous 50 states.
It's what, over 35, right?
Yep. So I got a couple days. I'll think about that. That sounds interesting.
You have 1 week, and we will each get, with an hour and a half show, we'll each get a half hour to push our gimmick.
Awesome. I smell dinner.
To everybody out there, leave your comments about what we talked about tonight. We'd love to hear from you. There's going to be a Patreon coming up. I'm working on it now. How can you help us? It's going to be tied in with Speedway because both shows are kind of sister shows. We're going to do this right. And tomorrow night, we're going to have some fun on Speedway. Don't forget to check it out. And
it's a sister from the same mister, that guy up there.
God, all the crazy we talked about tonight, the vein in my forehead is throbbing. I wish Emma were here. She'd just do this and she'd go, Dad, it's okay. Dad, it's okay. Oh my God! Last words.
I smell Brussels sprouts.
There you go.
Yeah, I'm hungry. I got to do some dinner.
I gotta pee.
All
Follow
right.
you out there from all of us over here. Thank you.
Right
Good
here.
night. We love you. Tune in next week.
Judgment falls upon you at first light. I'm the hand of God. I'm the dark Messiah. I'm the vengeful blood. In the blackest moments of a dying world, what have you become?
Is it bad that I still stroke to pictures of Casey Anthony? She is pretty hot.
She's still pretty good looking.
As long as you're not stroking,
Chad Hatfield said he'd leave his wife for her.
as long as you're not stroking it to the kid.
All right. Yeah, fair enough.